Greetings, friends, and welcome to another episode of the Mistake Zone, your weekly dose of our lives and the mistakes within them. My name is Jaren Wade. Joining me, as always, one of my best friends in the whole wide world, Matt Alba. Hey, Matt.
Yo.
How are you doing?
Yo, I'm feeling coffee.
Matt, I'm also feeling coffee, and I'm also feeling 2024, Matt. Matt, it's been quite some time since we both got together in the Saturday morning arcade clubhouse. We are back from our holiday hiatus. Once again, didn't plan to, leave our friends for an extended vacation, if you will, Matt Alba. But I think there is only one thing to do when we start off the new year, and that's to celebrate the previous one. 2023 is now over. I'm sure all our friends listening out there have already read through every media outlet, their favorite vlogger, their favorite influencer, their favorite content creator, everyone's top 10, top 50, top 100 lists of 2023. And better late than never, Matt, because here at the Mistake Zone, we're going to present our favorite and not so favorite things of 2023. But Matt, I think before we get into the festivities, I think we need to peek once again behind the curtain because, not gonna lie, Matt, and to all our friends out there, this episode was supposed to happen, what was it, Matt? I think
like 3 weeks ago? Yeah.
3 weeks ago, but I think over our holiday break, Matt Alba, were we hit with the neurovirus?
Jaren, I think so. Because I was for sure dead for 2 days.
Yes.
And then around those 2 days, I just, wasn't feeling particularly great and I felt particularly infectious.
Because we were supposed to get together, I think around, originally the 23rd of December to record something in person, but things didn't line up. And I thought, okay, the 26th, we can probably get together. Our pal Rakush will join us. It will be great. We'll celebrate 2023 together. And on the 25th, I woke up in the morning, Matt, and my stomach didn't feel right. I had the tummy gurgles. I felt really fatigued. Matt, excuse my French. I had the feeling, that tummy feeling of, oh, I should have diarrhea, but I'm not actually diarrheaing.
Yeah, that was really weird.
Where not a good time, Matt. Had to cancel on the pals, and I think we were going to record the following Saturday, but then, Matt, I know you hit up the group chat and said, hey, I think I got what Jaren has. Not great, Matt. Did not feel great. And I know we were still trying to figure out when else to record, and we wanted to be 100% before we returned to the Mistake Zone to share our many mistakes and celebrate some of our favorite things in 2023. And now we're here, Matt. We're here to celebrate.
Jared, I gotta say, not 100% for me.
Oh no, Matt. I apologize, but I'm thankful for you to join me this week to talk about last year. And we have a bunch of topics just because, Matt, 2023 was a beefy boy year full of great manga, great anime, great games, but also great film, great music. And I want to try the shotgun approach and try to shout out as many of the things that I enjoyed this year. And equally so, you have a lot of things that you enjoyed. So what better place than the start of the year, a new year, same mistakes. But Matt, let's start it off and shout out the rookie of the year. Matt, as someone who puts together some great previews, videos on our YouTube channel that shout out or highlight upcoming anime that you're interested in for any given season. Matt, tell me about the new debuting anime of the year.
Jaren, there were actually a lot of, new debuting anime this year. And when I was going through the list of what came out, I was actually surprised at how many returning anime there were that were also really, really good. But Jaren, this is about the new people. We can't worry about that old stuff. That's we got to
Yep.
focus on the new. We got to focus on the now, Jaren.
All right, all right. I'm listening, Matt.
Jaren, for me, for my 2023 anime that were newly debuted at number 10, Jaren, is I think one that we were both particularly I think maybe excited is the right word or hyped
Okay.
for is Reborn as a Vending Machine. I Now Wander the Dungeon.
Matt,
Jaren,
one of the few anime I actually finished this year.
Jaren, it is such a stupid concept, and I'm really, really into it. I kind of hope that I can find some kind of I don't know if figure is the right word for it when I go to Japan this year, but
There's
I really hope I can
the
find something.
Boxo Nendoroid that was announced. I'm not sure if it released yet, but Matt, hopefully you'll find it in store when you visit sometime this year.
And then, Jaren, at number 9 for me is Handyman Sato in Another World. I thought that this was a really nice, kind of weird, not weird anime, but it was a nice change of pace anime because it was one of those anime where it's divided into kind of just 3 stories within a full episode. And it kind of really had a D&D feel, which I really liked seeing in anime. And I feel like it's really, that kind of theme is picking up a lot, for the past year and going into the 2024 winter season as well, actually.
Okay.
But number 8, Jaren, Zom 100. I think this could have gone higher if it didn't have so many production issues.
Oh,
which is
no.
very unfortunate for it. Because it did kind of have to cut itself short, I think at 8 episodes or so this season. And then it's only picked up, I think, in December or November. But it's really unfortunate that had to happen to that show.
Okay.
But number 7 for me, Jaren, is a manga favorite, one that I was really, really looking forward to when I heard it was getting an anime. The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses. It's good, just really nice, fluffy, I don't know, middle school youth that is just great to consume for an old man like me, Jaren.
Matt, as we age and our bones become more brittle, I think I'm now more than ever am I attracted to those types of anime. It's something feel good, wholesome, whether it be, cute people doing cute things or just people trying to do their best. Matt, as someone whose best years are behind them, I like to live vicariously through people in the springtime of their youth or even
Same.
adulthood, so to speak.
And for me, Jaren, at number 6 is, I think, the only real shonen that I put on this list, which is Undead Unluck. Jaren, this is just such a fun shonen. The power dynamic is really good or the power spread is very good in here. The kind of backing story on why everything's happening is very interesting to me. I don't think it's particularly super, super unique, but it is a very fun twist on a existing formula that I don't really want to go about spoiling.
Yeah. It's something that comes up on my TikTok a lot that's being recommended. And I think next time I have a stomach virus, Matt, definitely something I'll try to binge watch.
I think it's also just very fun because they never, or at least when they first introduce a character, they never directly say what their power is. But you know that their power is associated to an unword. So going through just as they're dealing with a new person, trying to guess what their unword is I don't know, I think a good time.
Okay. Fair enough, Matt. Fair enough.
Then at number 5 for me, Jaren, is Oshinoko. I think, Jaren, you asked me earlier if I had an opening of the year, and I said I usually skip openings, but I think that Oshinoko's opening is probably the one that I think of first when I think of what my opening of this year is. Plus, the story itself is, I think, something very unique, and I think it's a very fun time. I'm still enjoying following the manga, and I'm hoping that the rest of the anime can live up to the rest of the manga.
Okay. Also, something next time I have a stomach virus, I'll definitely binge.
Jaren, number 4 for me is Heavenly Delusion. I think that this particular story took a lot of the anime world by storm when it came out because it is such a well told story. It is very much the oh, Jaren, what is the anime with the Promised Neverland of its time?
Right.
And then Jaren, I think for me, my number 3 this year is Apothecary Diaries.
That
Mm-hmm.
one of the other new anime I managed to finish this year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Apothecary Diaries, like we've talked about it on the show before, and it is a very fun watch with a good central cast of characters, and I think like an interesting, I guess like story setting, which isn't really I think shown too much in a lot of anime, and it's I don't know, nice to see it come in a really well done story and anime.
I know I got a notification that episode 13 was
Mm-hmm.
available today, and I know what I'm doing after we are done recording that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Jaren, for me, number 2 is Freerun. It is again one of those kind of unique stories and has a very strong cast of characters that I really really liked. And Jaren, it also kind of like half fills my shonen quota. So it's really hitting on a lot of cylinders for me.
Okay, Matt, before you get to number one, can you run down the list once again?
All right. So, number 10, reborn as a vending machine, I now wander the dungeon. Number 9, Handyman Saito in Another World. Number 8, Zom 100. Number 7, The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses. Number 6, Undead Unluck. Number 5, Oshi no Ko. Number 4, Heavenly Delusion. Number 3, Apothecary Diaries. Number 2, Freeren. And Jaren, my number 1 anime of 2023 is another Jaren where I am just sucking the youth out of it. Jaren, it's Dangers in My Heart.
Okay, Matt.
Jaren, this show, I feel like, I don't know, speaks to me more than The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses in terms of the kind of person I was when I was in middle school, which was, honestly, I don't think I knew the word chuninbyo in middle school, but man, was I definitely one. And I don't know, this one hits really really close for me, and I don't know, it is just such a fun anime and series for me to watch and consume, and eat up that youth.
All right. So, Matt,
Mm-hmm.
you just shared with us 10 of your favorite anime debuts of 2024. Matt,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
good list. No, dare I say, great list, Matt.
Yeah, thanks, Jared.
And again, Matt is the one who curates our, seasonal anime to look forward to. And don't want to put things on your plate, Matt, but it's January, it's 2024, new winter season.
Oh yes.
Anything in store, Matt?
Jaren, I put that video out, I think last week while we were both kind of dying.
Oh man, I should post that on the blog, Matt, because I am less dying right now. But once again, thank you for all those videos and all those previews, and congratulations to these anime debuts of 2024. Matt,
Mm-hmm.
is it safe to say that people and our friends should definitely check out these 10 titles?
Yeah, I definitely think you should.
And Matt, while we're still here in the mistake zone, while I don't have 10 anime, or Matt, I don't have 10 anime that I could list off for you, but I don't even have 10 manga that I can list off for you. But when I think about my time in 2023 and some of the manga and webcomics that I read over the past 12 months, I think 3 especially come to mind, which I want to share with you and the rest of our friends. So, Matt, these are my top 3 manga that I really enjoyed of 2023. Matt, number 3, I spoke about this, I think, twice during the mistake zone over the last year, and I have to shout out a story about smoking at the back of the supermarket.
Oh, okay.
Matt, again, as much as I said that I'm a old man that lives vicariously through high school and youth-based anime, there's just something about the awkward relationship between Sasaki and Toyama that really speaks to me. I know a few weeks ago I went on about chapters 32 and 33 specifically, but
Mm-hmm.
I think there's just a different vibe we get to see when you watch two adults, one 24, the other 45, trying to navigate what they mean to each other. Uh, I don't recommend the smoking aspect of it, but I do recommend just watching these two figure it out and enjoy each other's company. Shout out to the manager character. Love her and just the amount of support she gives the two of them. And I do recommend it if you're looking for a not necessarily rom-com, but something
Mm-hmm.
romance based that isn't, starring high school characters.
Man,
But
Jaren,
Matt,
I'm really surprised this is only number 3 on your list. I honestly thought when you told me you're gonna do top 3 manga that this would be one.
Matt, I
Mm-hmm.
think when I tell you two and one, yeah, I think you'll totally understand.
Okay.
So, Matt, number
Mm-hmm.
two is something you put me on, and Matt,
Mm-hmm.
I have to shout out Wolf Chan is trying to feign indifference.
Oh man, that's a good one. That's a good one, Jaren.
Matt,
Mm-hmm.
on the other side of the spectrum of, two characters trying to figure it out, just seeing the interactions between Fuyoku and her crush Makiba, Matt,
Mm-hmm.
so good. Love Fuyuko's just cold exterior, but her just being a girly girl inside.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta love the dense Makiba. And I think what really solidifies this as an enjoyable manga for me is, I have to say it, Matt, the
Mm-hmm.
support characters. Shout out to Samika, shout out to Rinka, and you know what? Shout out to Mamori as well. Matt,
Mm-hmm.
this trio of supporting characters, love them. I think they really do add to the story. And I think the last chapter I read was the one that introduced Makiba's sister, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Art. Great chapter. Great, rom com overall. And this leads me to, I think, my most enjoyed manga of this year. Matt,
Mm-hmm.
another one you put me on.
Okay.
The guy she was interested wasn't a guy at all.
Oh yes.
Matt, I think this speaks to me on so many different levels between, gotta say it, Matt, the Yuri aspect, but also I think just how much music impacts these two characters. Just seeing how it's first Aya that kind of realizes that she has feelings for Mitsuki, but then slowly seeing Mitsuki come into her own feelings and how she really showcases those feelings through music and just seeing them come together from all the different bands that we listen to, all the shows we go to, and even the supporting characters that end up coming to play. Matt, got to shout out our boy Narita. He just wants to see them together. Shout out to the aunties, shout out to Uncle Joe, but Matt really enjoyed the guy she was interested wasn't a guy at all, just a good love story that's still coming into fruition, but just between the music and the characters and even the art overall is something that really stuck with me throughout the year. And I look forward to every Sunday when a new chapter seems to be released. But Matt, I read a lot of manga this year, but these three in particular are the ones that I discovered. Two of them, again, thanks to you, Matt. But I think one of my goals for 2024 is definitely to check out a bit more. And Matt, now that we've explored the mistake zone, we discussed some manga, we discussed some anime, we got to revert back to our Nintendo-year-old selves, Matt, and go through our first Saturday morning arcade gaming section in the Nintendo recap. Matt, early in December, we got our year in review from Nintendo. You can view this at yearinreview.nintendo.com or something like that. Just Google it, Matt. Just Google it. And Matt, I think for these sections, we'll be going through our Nintendo, our Microsoft, and our Steam recaps and kind of just generally sharing what we've been doing this year on each platform that we have access to. And Matt, I'm looking at my Nintendo year in review right now, and I'm looking at my most... So Matt... So I scrolled down and it says you played 2 total games for 82 total hours on Nintendo Switch this year.
Okay, Jaren, I have 14 total games with 141 total hours this year.
Unfortunately, Matt, I think my list is outdated because technically in December I played a third game.
Okay.
But
Uh-huh.
Matt, my most played games this year are The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom for 82 hours and Fortnite for less than 1 hour on the Nintendo Switch.
Now,
I also have to shout out in December I played Suka Game, and that was my time with Nintendo this year.
oh man.
I think this year for my Switch essentially was The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom
Same.
machine. That was the only thing I played really meaningfully. I think Fortnite. I accidentally started it on my main account once. To be honest, Matt, I only use Fortnite on my Switch to play one of my dummy accounts so I get into bot games.
Nice.
So I can do my daily quest a bit easier without any real effort. But Matt, what were your most played Switch games of the year?
Jaren, I think I'm kind of similar to you in that the most played game, or my most played game of this year is Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom at 111 hours. And then, Jaren, my next game, not even from 2023, it's Pokemon Violet for 9 hours. And then, weirdly, Jaren, my number 3 is the Nintendo 64 Switch Online experience
Okay.
for 4 hours.
I know you, Julian, and Rikush had some time with that this year as well.
You know, playing some old N64 games together is was a good bit. Was a good bit.
So I think in this, Matt, this section is essentially us gushing over The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, isn't it?
Jaren, I think my favorite thing about the Nintendo recap is that it tells you how many sessions of the game you played.
Oh,
And I like that my Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is just one session. So it's just one 111-hour session, which I guess I just never switched the game.
Matt, you love your suspend nodes, don't you?
Yo, it is such a good system that I really wish that stuff like Steam and Game Pass had it.
I know with the Xbox, I know my partner suspends the game she plays a lot. And for the most part, it works relatively well where she'll jump into Fortnite and then the moment we're done playing Fortnite, she'll go back to one of the other games that she's been playing. And it's worked relatively fine when you jump in between games and resume games as well. I think there have been some instances where she was forced to kind of restart the system, but for the most part, it works relatively okay. And I think that would be something that I would take, utilize more if given the opportunity to. But Matt, we're talking about our Nintendo Switch year in review. I think between the both of us, it's pretty obvious that The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom is something that really caught our attention this year. I think for me personally, with Breath of the Wild being such a, favorite game of mine back in 2017, I know with the release of Tears of the Kingdom, it was something that I was a bit unsure about, coming into it. I know when we first saw that debut trailer and we were talking about the user-generated content aspect of it, we were really unsure how that would turn out. And for me personally, finally getting my hands on the game back in May, it was something that, I can fully acknowledge that I'm too small brain to really dig into the systems that present itself. But for the most part, just being able to kind of play within the sandbox that they provided, I think we said it before on the show that I'm really interested to see where open world Zelda goes from here, because Ultra Hand specifically is such a game defining mechanic that I would like to see that in particular be explored, whether it be in future Zeldas or at least a spin-off game that utilizes the same mechanic. But overall, I was just floored playing through this game, especially back in May, where it was such an enjoyable experience overall. I have to admit, though, Matt, that even though I've put in I think 80 plus hours. I've still only finished 2 of the major temples, but even then, each time I was playing, I just thought, oh, this is a really well made game that builds upon its predecessor very well, where I got a lot of feelings that I had back when I played Pokemon Gold for the first time. And, that feeling of returning to Kanto after you finish the Johto or whatever it's called
Ah, yes.
league, and essentially going back home. And even though this is a repurposed Hyrule, and I have to admit, even the Sky Island part was a bit underwhelming, and even the depths to a degree. Just having all of that come together for a pretty amazing package is something that really stuck with me as the year went by. And I do think highly of my time with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I know discourse hasn't been too favorable from the gaming circles I've been a part of, especially with some of the heavy hitters to come out on the later half of the year, but still can't deny how much time I put into Tears of the Kingdom and how much I enjoyed it, Matt. But I think, Matt, end of 2023, how was your 100 plus hours with Tears of the Kingdom?
I mean, Jaren, I really liked it. Like, there was just so much stuff that I liked doing within Tears of the Kingdom, to the point, and like with so much, I think, depth to it, where I, in that 111 hours, don't think I even hit every single part of the map, which always seems wild to me, especially when I consider the fact that one of the, I guess, like, most basic tools you start creating within that game is the flying motorbike.
Yep.
And the fact that, I don't know, the flying motorbike even gets referenced a lot. Like that, that one specific build with the 2 fans and the control stick just gets put everywhere. I don't know. Something about even the zeitgeist of everybody at the start making all these wild contraptions was just so fun to watch. And I don't know, Jaren, me, you, and Rakush have a group chat where we kind of just started to send each other Tears of the Kingdom kind of videos. And sometimes, Jaren, I want to just send both of you the same thing, but I'll send it to you individually because I feel like it's wrong to not put Zelda stuff into that chat.
Right. I feel that, Matt. I feel that. But I totally agree. It was the zeitgeist around Tears of the Kingdom's release that made me realize how much I do like playing, these big, heavy games during their release, just being part of that conversation, to be able to engage with everyone and see the content being created in the moment really just kind of adds to the overall experience. Still a great game, still something that I do try to go back now and then to. Even just a few weeks ago, I went back to the map and tried to get my bearings because, Matt, I plan to finish that game in 2024. It's like riding a bike, and Matt, still haven't updated it.
Yo, same.
Glitch of the year goes to item duping in Tears of the Kingdom, and I'm never updating this game.
Same.
So, Matt, we explored our inner Nintendo-year-olds, and still on the Nintendo train, Matt, I need to shout out my cool nostalgia thing of the year. And it's, kind of Nintendo related, but just barely. Matt, I have to shout out the Pokemon TCG Scarlet and Violet 151 set. Matt, I'm not big into Pokemon cards. That's my partner's area of expertise. That's what her hobby, that's what she enjoys. But Matt, I have to shout out the Scarlet and Violet 151 set. This was a Pokemon card set that came out, towards the later half of the year. And this essentially was just a set that had that solely focused on, the first 151 Pokemon, hence the name Scarlet and Violet 151. And this was the most Pokemon cards that I bought, half for my partner, but half for myself, because just One of my resolutions for 2024, Matt, is to stop buying cards in general because
Okay.
I think I was too addicted trying to find deals for this because some of the card art that we were able to pull that's available in the set just looked gorgeous. And again, why I say this was the cool nostalgia thing is we've talked at length about Pokemon on the Mistake Zone before, Matt. Matt, there's too many Pokemon.
Uh-huh.
It's hard to keep track. I think after the gold, silver, crystal era, I couldn't tell you any new Pokemon really, but to see a new Pokemon card set kind of bring me back to when Pokemon cards first came out and seeing essentially the Pokemon that I grew up with, and to be honest, that actually means something to me. Uh, I just really enjoyed trying to collect this set. We do have the base set, at least, with all the common cards. But if there's one thing that the Scarlet and Violet 151 card set has also taught me, Matt, is there's so many different variations of the same cards where you have, oh, here's the normal version, here's the SR version, here's the SSR version. And it's too many to keep track of, Matt. But for that brief moment of time, I fell into the trap of opening card packs, seeing what we got, putting them in our binder just so I can flip through to see a complete base collection. And it was cool, Matt. Never again, but something I definitely have to make note of that I did in 2023.
So just virtual gotcha from now on, Jay.
Just virtual gotcha, Matt. I had a few gotcha related topics, but I'm already bringing a lot to the table. So, had to scale back somewhere. But Matt, speaking about going back to yesteryear, I like many things. I like games, I like manga, anime, but Saturday Morning Arcade was birthed in, a little history lesson for some of our friends. Saturday Morning Arcade started in a college radio station, CFRE. And I had, on that college radio station, I also had a music show. And that, me, music is something that I engage with on a daily basis, whether it be just listening on a commute, a walk, trying to play around with a DJ controller, trying to make funny beat boop music in my spare time. But I think this year, a lot of music came out, a lot of just songs that I really engaged with throughout the year. So, Matt, this is my Spotify corner that I want to give some quick shout outs to some albums that I really enjoyed this year and also explore my top 5 most played songs of the year according to my Spotify Wrap. But Matt, in no particular order, here are 10 albums that I liked this year. First one is 10,000 Gex by 100 Gex. Matt, I think hyperpop is something that is kind of within the, I think, musical, I don't want to say zeitgeist, but it has been a subgenre to come up kind of in recent years. And I think 100 Gex is one of the acts to really be associated with the subgenre. And 10,000 Gex is something I had a lot of fun with this year. And it was just some good early 2023 music to drive to. It's really, I don't know, it's really chaotic, but something I really enjoyed through this year. Another album I liked this year, Matt, it was a compilation album, something that I'm sure you're familiar with. And that is the Hollow Nina Covers Volume 1, the collaboration between Deco Nina and hololive production. Matt, been a fan of Deco Nina for a while now, and to have, some of my favorite hololive talents cover some of his, I don't want to say greatest hits, but some of his notable hits was a really good time this year. Got to shout out Carly Rae Jepsen's The Loveliest Time. I've been a fan of Carly Rae for a minute now, and while her album from last year, The Loneliest Time, wasn't one of my favorite projects for her, I think with The Loveliest Time, Matt, it was something that me and Julian really geeked out over this year when she released it back in July. A lot of fun songs. I really love the production. And speaking about production that I love, got to shout out Olivia Rodrigo's Guts. Matt, this is some really fun, bratty pop punk, teenage girl emo music. Plus, I'm pretty sure she's half Filipino. I think.
True.
Don't-
Gotta support, Jared. Gotta support.
Don't put that on record, but really love the Guts. Really good follow up to her debut album Sour. But Lana Del Rey's Did You Know There's a Tunnel behind, Under Ocean Boulevard? Another great album from Lana Del Rey. I think watching her career kind of, watching her evolve and grow as a songwriter. I think this latest album for her is probably my favorite project of her recent ones. I know if you were to ask me about my favorite Lana Del Rey albums, it's pretty top heavy from when she first debuted, but really enjoyed Ocean Boulevard and A&W when I think that was the lead single of the album. When I heard it, it was just something that you wouldn't expect me to vibe with, but it was definitely something that I walked our dog to a lot this year.
Cool.
Matt, gotta shout out So Much for Stardust from Fall Out Boy. Matt, I think this was a return to form in many ways for Fall Out Boy. Again, similar to Lana Del Rey, some of their recent output, not that I didn't like it, but didn't love it. Like, again, Fall Out Boy means a lot to me as a emo kid in high school during their come up. And just a lot of the songs here feel like just have the same energy, have the same vibe as what I grew up with, yet is still pretty modern enough to show their growth as well. And then that, gotta shout out the girls from New Jeans, that Get Up EP, even though it's like 12 minutes. ETA Jam, Super Shy Jam. Really love this EP. Really short, but Matt, it's New Jeans. Shout out to Gods. That was also a fun jam. Matt, have to shout out Boy Genius's The Record. Really fun indie album overall. Really enjoyed the songwriting. Some funny lyrics too that I found myself actually chuckling at, but overall, really good album. Have to shout out JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown's Scaring the Hoes. Matt, I'm still a hip hop kid at heart, and this was probably my most listened to hip hop album of the year. Love the JPEG Mafia production as always, and just seeing Danny Brown, his output this year also great as well. And I think finally, Matt, not necessarily my album of the year, but definitely one I listen to most. Back speaking about, music that I grew up with and seeing the artist kind of, not necessarily a return to form, but show a mature version of what, I listened to back in the day. Have to shout out Skrillex's A Quest for Fire. Matt, I know we would always meme around with Skrillex a lot growing up, with his obnoxious dubstep, his blaring wub wubs, and his robot screaming. And I think throughout Quest of Fire, you don't have the same obnoxious, like glaring dubstep things, but you still get the drops, you still get a lot of bass, but it shows how much Sunny has matured over the years, where it's just a fun electronic album. A lot of great features, a lot of fun overall, something I like to pretend to beep boop around with on my own DJ controller. But yes, those are 10 albums I really liked this year. And kind of going off that, Matt, got to shout out my Spotify 5 most played songs of the year. Starting with number 5, Matt. No surprise here, the Vampire Hollow Nina version from Deco Nina, Yuzuru Mel, and Yuzuki Choco. Matt, I love the Vampire. I love Mel. I love Choco. Great cover. Number 4, Matt. Unreal Veil by Anya Melfixa. I don't know what it is about Hollow ID and their original songs, Matt, but I really do love Anya's Unreal Veil. You can really see how much she kind of enjoys, or how she grew up with, I guess, just the Vocaloid music scene. And I think I was really surprised at, I think her original releases this year, and Unrail Veil is something that once she released it, I think over the summer, was something heavily on my rotation. Number three is Leave Me Like This from Skrillex and Bobby Raps. Again, Matt, I think this is the quintessential Skrillex is an old man now. It still has that same drop that you would expect from a Skrillex song, but not as in your face, not as obnoxious, but something I really enjoyed. Number two, again from Skrillex, Fred Again and Floatin', Rumble. Floatin' is a grime MC that, I liked again back in the day, but just to see him releasing new material on a Skrillex song, the bass line crazy, really enjoyed it. And number one, Matt, you shouted it out earlier, but have to give Idol by Yosobi, my most played song of the year. I think technically, I guess my OP of the year as well. I think this is definitely something that when I immediately heard it, I looked at my new releases on Spotify, saw the cover art featuring, the art from Oshinoko, and just hearing the vibe of it, reading along to the lyrics and the translated lyrics. I thought it just fit what Oshinoko was perfectly. I think the vocals, the production, great all around. And that, I have to say this, I'm sorry. Now that I'm on my Spotify tip, when I know the hololive countdown performances happened a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I think it was Sora, Iris, and Zeta who performed Idol. And you have everyone in chat screaming, Idol's the perfect song to represent hololive. I'm pretty sure no one actually read the lyrics to that song. But have to shout out Yosobi, have to shout out Idol, my most listened to song of the year. And Matt, did you have anything from your Spotify Wrapped this year?
Yeah, Jaren, my Spotify Wrapped is kind of weird.
Okay.
Jaren, primarily I use my Spotify for podcasts.
Okay.
So I don't really hit music on there. So the only thing I listened to on Spotify this year in terms of music was the holodeco stuff.
Yep.
So the only genre I have, I think I showed you before, is Japanese VTuber.
Classic, Matt. Classic.
And I think, I think it's worth saying that the apparently song I played the most was Ollie's Zombie.
Good cover, Matt. Good cover. But Matt, good year of music. Again, I feel like I put my taste out on a platter, but hopefully next year it will be less Skrillex and hololive VTubers and more of a variety. Another resolution of mine this year. So Matt, now that we went through some music and some Pokemon, I think now we need to go back to Saturday Morning Arcade and explore another platform recap. Matt, how was your Xbox 2023 year in review?
Jaren, initially I was kind of surprised at my Xbox year in review because it seemed like it had so much time in it for how much games I played.
Yeah.
But then I realized it was very front-loaded with me and Rakush playing Monster Hunter.
Fair enough, Matt. Fair enough. Matt, how do your 2023 highlights look?
Jaren, I have a total time of 345 hours, 16 total games, 90. Jaren, I'm so mad that I didn't hit 100 total achievements. I'm at 98.
Damn, Matt. Close.
Yep. And, that only got me 1,697 gamer score.
Okay.
Man, Jaren, I miss when we used to chase. It wasn't called Gamerscore on 360, right?
Yeah, it was Gamerscore.
Oh, was it still called Gamerscore back then?
Yeah, it was still Gamerscore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was something different. But man, Jaren, I miss chasing Gamerscore.
Same, Matt. Same. And I think looking at my highlights, Matt, total time 311, 21 total games, plus 22 or 2,279 gamer score, 104 achievements, and my top gameplay month was April, Matt Alba. And Matt, what were your top 3 most played games on your Xbox?
So, Jaren, like I mentioned, Monster Hunter Rise is my
Yeah.
number one most played game, followed by City Skylines. And then at number three, Jaren, I have Starfield.
Oh, fair. Matt?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, number 3, top game you've played, Persona 5 Tactica.
Oh, yep.
Number 2, Starfield.
Mm-hmm.
And number 1, Fortnite.
Classic.
Yep. Matt, I think
Mm-hmm.
I know we kind of dedicated episodes to it, but I think looking at my 2023 highlights, it really again shows how many Game Pass games I played this year. I'm kind of looking at the list right now. Um, Hi-Fi Rush was a stealth drop that I'm really surprised I played Persona 5 Tactica more than I did Hi-Fi Rush, just because I feel like I put some time into it. And it's definitely a game that, again, I didn't finish, but one I do want to go back to just because I think it's one that I think on paper does appeal to me, a character action game, music based. But it's also one that kind of came out earlier in the year, and I think I ended up dropping it possibly for something else. But kind of looking at the carousel of games that I played through this year because of Game Pass. Have to shout out Lies of P. Have to shout out Venba. Thirsty Suitors is something that I want to put a bit more time into before I talk about it here on the Mistake Zone. Spirity is something that I'm also playing kind of currently right now that I will also like to discuss with you eventually as well. But yeah, Matt, I think with, even though it says total games 21, I think, again, it's the same notion that I brought to you a few weeks ago where with all this choice from Game Pass, Matt, it's so easy for me to drop a game just because there's something else to download as well. But shout out to Cocoon, shout out to Jasant. I forgot about Redfall, and Matt, here's hoping that we see a lot more games on Game Pass in 2024 that I personally finish at least. So Matt, now that we've explored our Xbox recap of the year,
Yes.
Matt, since you don't have an Xbox, correct?
No, I do not.
So it's safe to say all your games were digital,
I guess so.
at least on the Xbox side, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is something wild to me when I'm kind of looking at our year in review list, where I think I've only bought like 1 or 2 physical games this year. But Matt, you know what isn't digital? Physical board games. Matt, as our resident board games expert and connoisseur, do you have a list of top board games that you played for the first time this year?
Yes. Jaren, I actually had an honorable mention on here that I feel like I really want to drop now because Jaren, this is the one board game I played that I didn't play physically. I only played it digitally. Jaren, it's the Dune board game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Jaren, that Dune board game is really interesting. It takes a lot of concepts from a lot of different kind of genres. Like it takes deck building, it takes worker placement, it takes kind of just like army building, and it mashes them all into one game. And it's a very interesting concept. And honestly, I was kind of turned off by it at first because of the Dune property being associated to it. So I thought it would be very dry. But I think that this is legitimately, even if it didn't have the Dune property associated to it, would be, I think, one of the best board game, like best like multiplayer tactical board games that you could play. But Jaren, going into my actual top 5 list, physical board games that I played for the first time this year. So it's not limited to games that came out in 2023. Because I feel like Jaren, board games kind of like occupy a weird space for me where I don't really want to buy in right at the start. I like to wait for like reviews to see if like they're worth buying because they're usually like a pretty penny. But number 5 for me is Basket Boss. Jaren, I love me a game that has fake names. Got to go back to the classic of Chris Bash.
Shout out to MVP Chris Bash.
Had I think Mike L. Bullman.
That's a
just
good one.
yeah. It had I think Young Dynasty as Yao Ming, but this is a game where you are playing as a basically NBA manager trying to draft together the best team that you can. And I don't know, the kind of auctioning against each other and, looking at somebody else's money and seeing, oh, do they have enough money to beat me? How hard do I have to jump to maybe push them out? Or is Kevin just going to be an asshole and just up the bid knowing that I want this player? And, he knows that I'm not going to back out. Jaren, I don't like auction mechanics, but I love auction mechanics just because of this, this kind of thing.
Matt, you're selling me on this. Matt, question. 2-player friendly, and how casual friendly is it?
Jaren, I honestly don't think that this is 2-player friendly.
Okay.
I think you need at least 3. It's probably better with more players because it kind of has that driving up the kind of bargain sort of thing going on. And I don't think that works as well with 2.
Fair enough.
I think the concepts are pretty easy to pick up, but in terms of overall difficulty, I would say that this is kind of somewhere between novice and intermediate. I wouldn't say that it's this is a purely novice simple game.
Okay, fair enough.
But Jaren, for me, number 4 is Parks and its expansion, Parks Nightfall. Jaren, this is kind of just a fun kind of game where you are moving your character along a trail. It is a slight worker placement type game, and you're just, visiting U.S. national parks. The aesthetic of this game is so good. I love the art style that this I decided to use. It's not a realistic art style. It's more so a cartoony style, sort of like a realistic cel-shaded style. It's really hard for me to explain. But secondly, the quality of this board game is just so good. I feel like they really put a lot of thought into what they wanted each piece to be made from, and the kind of card stock that they're using. It is just a really nice game to touch. And the mechanics of it make it feel very good because you're moving along a trail and you can't move back, but whoever's the furthest back gets to have the next turn. So you're kind of playing that sort of game. You can't occupy the same place as somebody else without, giving something up. It's a really fun game, and I really enjoyed both the theming and the gameplay of this game. Number 3 for me, Jaren, is a game that I brought onto here before. It's Final Girl.
Yes.
Jaren, it is such a good theme, good solo game. Did you end up picking it up or no?
Not yet, Matt. Not yet.
But I mentioned on the episode that I brought it, it is a kind of solo board game where you are playing as a girl and you're up against a murderer that is based on, stuff like Freddy Krueger or Jason. And it is just a fun game. It is, you're burning resources to make sure you don't die. It is feels very tight in terms of whether you're going to win or lose. And it has a lot of, twists and turns to it that make it a very exciting playthrough. And it only really takes maybe half an hour to play through a game once you know what you're doing. So it is a nice, quick session.
Okay.
I know, Jaren, this is basically a roguelike, and I'm really into it.
Still something on my list to check out.
Number 2 for me, Jaren, is Cat in the Box. This is a trick-taking game similar to Hearts, and I think it kind of follows or adds a really unique element, which is that this game is based on Schrodinger's cat, where all the cards in the game, instead of them being like a normal deck of cards, the cards in this game have their suits removed. So you just have a bunch of 4s, a bunch of 5s, a bunch of 6s, instead of a 4 of clubs, a 4 of hearts, 4 of diamonds, 4 of spades. And what you do when you play the card in this kind of standard trick-taking game is that you declare its suit then and there. And you mark off that, hey, I've played whichever 4 of spades, for example. And that means nobody else can use their 4 card to play the 4 of spades. And like I said, it operates like a normal trick taking game where, whoever plays the highest card gets to like take all the cards, and that counts as like points for them. But since your cards can be kind of whatever you sort of want them to be, you're also trying not to create a paradox. And if you create a paradox, you automatically lose the round, which I think is like, a very fun and interesting concept. And I don't know, I just overall really, really like this game. It's a very, very interesting play, and it really changes up the trick taking format. And then, Jaren, for me, number one is Heat Pedal to the Metal.
I like the name, Matt.
Jaren, this is a kind of like deck management game where you have a deck of cards. They all have like different speeds on them, or different kind of like abilities on them. And you are using them to operate your basically an F1 car. And you're racing everybody else by playing cards. You like shift gears, and that tells you how many cards you can play. So when you're in first gear, you can only play one card. When you're in like fourth gear, you have to play 4 cards. And you're also trying to play in a way where you don't burn out on corners, where you have to stay under a certain speed when you're playing things. And it is a very good play. I think the theme matches very well with the gameplay, and it makes it a very intuitive game to play, which I think is like very hard for board games. And I don't know, overall that made it for me my number one game of this year.
Okay, Matt, some really cool ones that you mentioned, and I think something like your top board games that you played for the first time this year is something that I do look forward to every time, just in general, you bring a new board game to the Mistake Zone, just because it's a world that I'm so not versed in, but I feel like every time you bring something up, it sounds really cool and makes me wish I had more friends around my vicinity to play them with.
Same.
So, Matt, speaking about physical board games and just being physical in general, if there's one thing that I found myself doing a lot in 2023, it's going to the movies. Matt, I was looking through my, since we buy all our tickets through the app, online, we show our phones when you get to the theater. I saw a lot of movies in theaters this year. Matt ate a lot of popcorn this year, ate a lot of popcorn topping this year, and I actually had enough to consider, Matt, top 10 movies that I watched this year. I'll go through the first 7 in alphabetical order just because it was really hard for me to put them in order, but I do have a top 3 that I'll get to eventually. But Matt,
okay,
in alphabetical order, 7 of my top 10 movies of the year. Anatomy of a Fall was a great crime-based movie. Just really, I really enjoyed the story, just kind of exploring kind of the psychological effects of a, supposed murder and the toll it takes on the wife and the child in the given situation. Do recommend. Also, shout out to The Boy and the Heron, Matt, of course. That heron teeth, though, still freaks me out. Godzilla Minus One was another film I enjoyed this year. I think my only grip was the very, very end. And I'm not sure if you saw it, Matt, but maybe this is something we can go into on a later episode of The Mistake Zone. I think I really enjoyed Godzilla Minus One, but it's just the very end scene is something that really soured me from an otherwise great movie overall. Have to give it to Oppenheimer, beefy boy movie, great in IMAX, and for something that I was going in with not, I wasn't really looking forward to watching the movie, but throughout its beefy boy runtime, I was made a fan, especially during the later half. And, again, we saw it in IMAX, and I think for what it was, it really delivered on the experience. Have to shout out a film called Past Lives, just how it explores, our main character growing up in Korea and then leaving to live into the US, and how she navigates relationships, both old and new, is just something that I really enjoyed. Again, Matt, it's kind of dealing with more adult relationships that it's a good palate cleanser from all the slice of life animes that I watch.
Hmm.
Have to shout out Poor Things. Uh, really just a weird movie overall, Matt. Really questionable at points, but really, I think it was really produced well overall. And finally, have to shout out Suzume.
Hmm.
I know we were supposed to talk about this on the Mistake Zone earlier in the year, and maybe we will one of these days, but just really enjoyed the
Hmm.
animation. Great main character, great friendships that she made along the way. Um, One of the better anime movies I saw this year as well. But Matt,
Hmm.
my top three films of the year.
Oh man.
Number three, have to give it to the Netflix movie May December, which overall is such a weird movie, a wild movie overall. Deals with some really, I guess, horrible, just a premise overall. But the way that Natalie Portman, Julianne Moore, and even Charles Melton kind of navigate these characters, I don't know, Matt. I like a good movie that deals with such a serious subtext, but still is
Hmm.
able to produce it in a raising way. Where even though this again should be a drama, there are parts that make it campy. There are parts that are made for laughs that really do add to the whole uncomfortableness that I felt throughout the movie. It's something I do recommend. Don't let the premise fool you, just because I think overall just seeing the story play out, and again the reveal at the end gave me such Tar vibes from 2022. So do recommend May December.
Hmm.
Number two is Bottoms, Matt. I
Hmm.
know we grew up with stuff like American Pie, and that I think nowadays maybe it's just because I don't watch those types of movies, those types of comedies, but you don't really see that teenage raunchy sex comedy movie anymore. And I feel like this whole episode of us of the things that I really enjoyed from 2023 is kind of updated modern versions of things I grew up with. So to kind of see
Hmm.
Bottoms take on that genre that was dominated by American Pie growing up, it was such a fun comedy. I really enjoyed it. It was, again, one I went to the theater with such a low expectations, but I found myself laughing throughout. If you're looking for, that raunchy comedy, I can't recommend Bottoms enough. Had a lot of fun. And I think of all the movies I saw this year, it's the one that I recommend most to people if that's your type of humor.
Hmm.
And number one movie of the year, Matt, doesn't come to a surprise, Blue Giant. I think this just overall spoke to me in a lot of ways. Produced really well, really great jazz soundtrack, and how it blends the music to help tell the story it's trying to tell. Made me go to that manga. But again, Matt, I said it
Hmm.
on the episode that we discussed it. You need the music, you need the full production, you need the visuals to all come together to really make it something special.
Uh,
Just Blue Giant. I'm still looking for the vinyl at a reasonable price, Matt. But again, Blue Giant, probably my favorite theater going experience this year. Something I really enjoyed and something I really
I don't know,
recommend.
Jaren. Jaren, wasn't really that comparable to the Fast 10 in 4DX? Wait, that was this year, right? I just want to make sure.
Yep, that
Okay.
was this year, Matt.
Uh huh.
I don't know if we're still allowed to be fans of Vin Diesel anymore,
Oh
but
wait, no, Jaren. Did
uh,
these like canceled?
not allegedly, Matt,
Oh no.
allegedly, but we'll monitor this going forward. But Matt, Fast DX, Fast 10 and 4DX was definitely an experience this year, but not enough to crack my top 10 films of this year. But again, shout out to May December, Bottoms, and especially Blue Giant. Check them out if you're just looking for to feel uncomfortable, to laugh, and just to experience a great music production.
Mm-hmm.
So Matt,
Mm-hmm.
had to bring it back for 2024. Matt,
Mm-hmm.
no surprise, played a lot of Fortnite this year. A lot of
Yes.
Fortnite. And there were new Fortnite skins. Matt, Bringing it back since it was such a hit last year. Here are my top 10 Fortnite skins of 2024.
Okay.
Matt, number 10, have to shout out Bender from Futurama. Matt,
Okay.
I sent you a file with my skin picks. Number 10, Bender. Matt, it's Bender. Come on, that's a good looking skin. Good looking skin. Ripped right from the show, one of the better animated skins to come out this year. Number 9, have to give it to The Weeknd, specifically the combat the combat skin, specifically the white colorway with the masked variant. Matt, this is the closest I'm gonna get to a MF Doom skin because Matt, The Weeknd's masked. Kind of the mask he performs in for his latest concert. He went on record to say it is inspired by MF Doom. Matt missed the Marvel season where they had the Doctor Doom skin. So this is the closest I'm ever going to get. Fair enough. Matt, number 8, got to give it to April O'Neil. Only reason why April O'Neil, her skin is on the lower end is, Matt, she doesn't have a variant of the full jumpsuit. Missed opportunity.
Oh, that's weird.
It's just her with the yellow pants and the rest of the jumpsuit is kind of tied at the waist. Missed opportunity. Have to shout out the Leonardo skin because Matt, of the 4 turtles, I think Leonardo looked the best and he has the best weapons, his katana. Cool. Number 6, got to give it up to Jack Skellington. Matt didn't expect Jack Skellington to show up in Fortnite, but
I didn't even know he was a collab skin.
He was a collab skin for the Halloween Fortnite season. Great skin overall. Looks good. Matt, number 5, a lot of anime skins this year, but as a fake JJK fan, have to shout out Satoru Gojo. Matt, probably one of the better anime skins to come out this year. I know Goku Black was also released this year to make up for the really subpar Goku skin from last year, but have to give it up to Gojo. I think his was one of the better anime skins of the year. Number 4, no, sorry, Matt, I can't count. Okay. 9, Bender, 8, The Weeknd, 7.
Was it 10? Wasn't Bender 10?
Sorry, 10's Bender. Matt, I can't count. 9, The Weeknd, 8, April O'Neil, 7, Jack Skellington, 6, Satoru Gojo. Okay, Matt, number 5. We have, I know it's Siri in the file, but I got a shout out to the whole Witcher set, but specifically Geralt this year. I think all the Witcher skins from Geralt, Ciri, and Yennefer were really well done. I think all the accessories that they came with were really good. And just overall, I think they were one of the better collab skins to release. Really looked faithful to the source material and still holding up hope for some of the Cyberpunk Edge Runner skins. Maybe one day, Matt. Maybe one day. Someday, Matt. Someday. Number 4, we have to go, for me personally, the Culture Club Commander. This was part of their Academy Champion set. So essentially you got a bunch of Academy skins and then you can kind of customize all the different colors, the different pants, skirts, tops that they wear. And I think Culture Club Commander, I picked specifically for her, I guess her hair buns. And that, the color scheme that I picked for my character uses the Hatsune Miku colorway. Matt, looks really fresh. Looks really fresh.
Nice.
Matt, number 3, gotta give it to another collab skin, Crossheart. This was designed by Yoshitaka Amano. He's mostly known for his work on the Final Fantasy franchise, and I really love the Crossheart skin. Did not expect to see this collab. Number 2, Matt, I'm going to give it to Explorer Emily. And the only reason I do this is, Matt, free skin. All you have to do is sign up for your Lego account, connect that to your Epic account, and then you get this cool adventurer redhead girl.
Oh, nice.
Matt, can't beat free. Can't beat free, so she gets number 2. And Matt, my number 1 skin of the year for Fortnite is Astra. She came in the September crew pack. And I don't know, Matt, there's something really haunting about her skin. I just love her dead black eyes. And all the different variants. She has a short hair variant, a long hair variant, and different colorways. But just overall, when I immediately saw her skin, I subscribed to the Fortnite crew pack for that month alone just to get it. Again, really haunting looking, and one that got me a few dubs before the OG season started, and I started losing a lot. And
Yeah.
I'll post these up on the blog, but Matt, those are my top 10 Fortnite skins of 2024.
Nice.
So, Matt, now that we got my Fortnite nonsense out of the way, let's go to our final recap of the year. Matt, I don't know if Sony does their own recap, but I guess, to be honest, we both don't own PlayStation 5s. So we don't get Sony recaps if they do that. But we do play on Steam a lot. We do use our PCs a lot, obviously. And I think in terms of recaps, the Steam one was the one I was looking forward to the most, just because I think this one was going to be the beefiest one of the three that do get delivered to me this year.
Yes.
But Matt, how was your Steam year in review 2023?
It seemed to me like a lot better than last year. I feel like I played a lot more this year compared to last year.
Okay, fair, Matt. Fair.
But Jaren, this year I got 28 different games played, with 13 of those being new.
Oh,
Jaren,
nice.
I don't know what longest streak is. Do you know what this stat is?
So for longest streak, it's essentially how many days you played consecutively that you launched a Steam game. So
I see. Okay, so mine is 39 days.
mine is 28 days. Matt, during this time, what games did you play during your streak?
Baldur's Gate. I played Remnant 2. I played Armored Core 6, and I played HoloCure.
Oh, Matt, solid games. Solid games. So I think for me, with Steam, I'm looking at 23 games played, 16 new games. Matt, 256 achievements unlocked, but Matt, it's Steam achievements. Don't really consider those. 22% played with mouse and keyboard, Matt, and 78% played with controller. Matt, how are your device breakdowns?
Jaren, I don't think I have that section. I think maybe I just didn't have a relevant breakdown between the two sections.
That's weird. I guess it is kind of customized per user, just because I also have a Steam Deck section as well.
Oh, true. That makes sense.
Where Matt, I played 16 games on my Steam Deck for a total of 163 sessions and 15% of my playtime. Matt, my top 5 Steam Deck games were Dead Cells, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, Street Fighter 6, HoloCure, and Vampire Survivors.
Nice.
And I think just going overall, Matt, exploring the games I played this year, I think my top 6 most played this year, a lot of it is, I think all 6, the reason I bring this up is because these games were the first time I played in 2023. Starting at number 6, we have Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon. 5, we have Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. 4, Dead Cells. 3, HoloCure. 2, Cyberpunk 2077. And my most played Steam game of the year, Street Fighter 6. Matt?
Hey.
I think, in many ways, Street Fighter 6 is definitely up there of like one of my favorite games of the year, just because in between the single player world tour mode and, I'll be honest, Matt, just the modern controls, it really did open up Street Fighter to me. Again, I'm not the greatest at fighting games. A lot of the really foundational work goes over my head, but with modern controls, with the world tour mode, I was able to sink a lot of time into the game itself. And I'll be honest, Matt, even though it's my most played Steam game of the year, it's also probably my most AFK'd game of the year, because Matt, gotta grind out those battle passes for cosmetics I'm never going to use. I also have to shout out Cyberpunk 2077, especially the Phantom Liberty DLC. This probably is my most played Steam game, pound for pound, no AFKing. I recently finished Phantom Liberty, and, I went and did the Phantom Liberty ending itself as well, like the new ending that they introduced to the game. And Matt, overall, the DLC was a fantastic piece of, add-on content for Cyberpunk. It has that legacy to it now of one that was a game that was able to kind of rise from the ashes, really, really, really rough start, and actually just deliver a game that everyone really was excited for and just highly praised. So I think just the story of Cyberpunk 2077 is interesting. But Phantom Liberty, the actual story that they told there, some of it was kind of predictable, but I think overall you can really tell the production that went into it. It was so different than what you get from vanilla. Some of the set piece moments, I found myself just at the edge of my seat. And at the end of when it was all said and done, I do want to. Did you finish Phantom Liberty, Matt?
I did not, Jaren.
Okay. I think when you do, I think it's something that hopefully we can talk to you about in a future episode, but something I really do recommend and something I really enjoyed my time with this year. And that shout out to HoloCure.
Yeah.
Shout out to KU and the team of collaborators he works with, because Matt, as much as I loved Vampire Survivors last year, I think I have to give the edge out to HoloCure. Just the amount of content that it received this year, the different builds you can do, and I'm really excited just to see how much this game evolves and changes in 2024.
Same.
But Matt, what were some of the Steam games you wanted to highlight this year?
So Jaren, I had a top 5, or Steam gave me a top 5 of my for my Steam games. And at number 5, I have Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous.
Okay.
Number 4, I of course have HoloCure.
Yes.
Number 3, I have Hogwarts Legacy.
Yes.
Number 2, I have Remnant 2. And number 1, I have Baldur's Gate 3, which accounts for 50% of my total playtime, which I think is kind of wild.
Matt, as much as you sing its praises, Baldur's Gate 3 is one of the games that I want to explore, but I think at this point, I'm not sure if I missed the boat.
Jaren, I think if you ever have, like, I don't know, 2 weeks of downtime, this is maybe the game to go to. But I feel like you're just gonna sink that in Fortnite or something.
So you're saying next time we have stomach viruses, this might be something to check out as well. Okay, Matt. Anything else from the Steam recap that you want to shout out?
Actually, there's an old game on here that wasn't from 2023. I think it was from 2022 that I kind of just want to shout out, which is I talked about it on the show before. It was Melatonin. I think that it was a great game, and I'm glad that I ended up finally finding it.
Nice. Matt, I think to end off the Steam recap, there's just one thing that I want to say that really affected my sick brain, in that, Matt, the Steam recap, I think this year and last year, came out around like December 10th.
Yes.
Ish, around mid-December. And there's one thing I noticed about two of them, is that anything you play in between the release of the Steam recap and what is it, January 1st, doesn't seem to be counted in your recap.
Yeah.
So I found myself in that time not trying to play anything new, because I wanted it to reflect on my recap, my 2024 recap, this upcoming year. So I think in that time it was a lot of Cyberpunk and HoloCure, and that I'm not going to go into it this week, but I think for 2024, to help with my recap for next year, I will introduce a new weekly segment to the Mistake Zone. So keep an eye out, starting, I guess, next week, really. But Matt, I think we've mentioned it, or I at least have mentioned it a lot this year, and we've gone on record to say we're fans of VTubers, specifically of the hololive variety. It has such a massive community of just additional content creators and clippers trying to curate content for fans that honestly can't keep up with the countless talents that they have right now. So, Matt, before we begin to wrap it up, one more fluff category of the year. Matt, this is my top 10 hololive fan animations of 2023. Matt? So for my list, it's 10 different animators. I didn't want to double dip, but for a lot of these animators, Matt, consistent content that you can, and I did create top 10s for separate animators that I might post on the blog sometime. But Matt, gonna shout out the top 10 hololive fan animations that I really enjoyed this year. Matt, and again, this is just because of animation style. And honestly, I think clip curation is also a good way for my judgment as well. Because Matt, once again, a lot of content to go through. And to see it reimagined by fans is really great to see. And Matt, number 10 from Teratama End, Nanichi taking pleasure in being rejected by Fubu-chan, animated hololive / English sub. Matt, love me some Nene. Love the appearance by Ollie, and love a disgusted Fubuki face. Number 9 from Fuafua is Baby Miko and Kobo, hololive animation, English sub. That love me some good Miko Elite English and Kobo. You're going to see Kobo a lot, but Kobo taking the kind of senpai role to a baby Miko. Fun animation overall. Number 8 from Triple with a 3 at the end. Crony refuses to accept her defeat. Hololive animation, English sub. That love me a good Crony and Polka exchange. That love me some Polka. Number 7 from, I think it's a Giferi. I'm not sure. Algaferi, but
I always read it as AI.
Oh, AI Gaferi.
Is it an L?
Maybe, but it's She Killed Somebody, hololive fan animation. Matt, love me some Risu. Love me a good Risu Euro Truck stream. Matt, love me a good Risu Euro Truck stream, or American Truck Simulator animation. Number 6, Aksui couple channel got caught at immigration. This from Komanu End. Matt, love me a good Aqua and Suisei animation featuring some EN and IG girls. Number 5, this one is from Super Appleman, Koala Kyla, ? Matt, good exchange between Sana and Muna featuring Crony. Matt, shout out to Sana. Hope she's doing okay. Matt, from H and Mr. H, at number 4, Kobo immediately abused Haka and Fuma for saying fucking at animation. Matt, I think H and Mr. H had some really fun animations this year, but gotta give it to Kobo. Shout out to the Holostar boys. Matt, watched this multiple times throughout the year.
Nice.
Number 3 from Boang Gipeng. Not sure how to say his name, but Guilty or Innocent, Kobo Kanaru x Uzora Police featuring Bay. Matt, I loved this stream, and to see it get animated, especially in this style, great. I love this clip so much, specifically for when Kobo explains to Subaru and Bay how she deals with the Oji-san and Subaru's immediate reaction. Classic. Great, Matt.
Jared, this is like a really long animation too.
Matt, some beefy boy animations throughout the year. Shout out to the hololive community. Number 2 is Muna says a great line directly from Pekara. This is from Mock Neg EN subs. But Matt, you know me. I'm a Pico Moon fanboy at heart. Great exchange, great animation. A lot of subtle goofs throughout this animation, Matt. But it's one I really enjoyed. And number 1, Matt, from Momo no Fu. Matt, I know in my original list I gave you a number one, but after reviewing their content and doing their own top 10 that I might post later, have to give it to Auntie Marine gets promoted question mark to Mommy Marine, hololive animated clip English sub Marine slash Kobo. Matt, Kobo is probably one of my. I think did Kobo debut this year? I can't remember, but I think it speaks to how much of a entertainer she was this year, that a lot of the clips that she received this year, some of my favorites, and this one specifically, just the dynamic between Marine and Kobo, animated by Momono Fu. Great, Matt. Classic. And those were my top 10 hololive fan animations of the year. We'll post this on the blog so everyone gets the links to check it out as well. But Matt, any other clips come to mind when you think of the hololive fan animations this year?
Jared, I can't really think of any. Okay, I can think of a lot, but I don't know if they were this year or not.
Fair enough, Matt. Fair enough.
But I do want to just like shout out Sword, because I think that they're kind of. I don't think it's real claymation. I'm pretty sure it's like 3D animation that's meant to look like claymation. I really, really enjoy that unique kind of looking style.
No, they had some really good just animation this year. But Matt, while you open the floodgates, I'm going to shout out just a lot of the content creators that didn't make up my top 10, but had some really good animations this year. So, check it out. We have new Kino En. We have Mochi Miko En, Kimori RH. We have Mojaja En. Sense of None had a really cool fight animation. Riri ZPT. Chili Zero. Valins and Chew. I can't. You know me, Matt. I'm bad at pronouncing, but just search hololive fan animation, and you're bound to get something good from this year.
Oh, you know what? I just feel like you also got to shout out Kana Uru.
Yes,
for all their animations.
Really big collaborator this year. Released a lot of good official stuff too for hololive members.
For sure, yeah.
So Matt, I think we came back to 2024 with another Beefy Boy episode, but we got to end off with our end of the year lists. And Matt, to be honest, I personally don't have a game of the year list just because I feel like, again, I played a lot of games this year, quote unquote, a lot of games this year, but I think the closest that I would say would be my game of the year would probably be Tears of the Kingdom or maybe Street Fighter 6. But I think given how much time has passed with them and how many games I actually finished this year, I don't feel right saying this is my game of the year when I think the number of games I actually finished this year, I could probably count on like one hand. So to not really commit to it, I'll say that games I enjoyed this year, specifically Tears of the Kingdom, Street Fighter 6, and I guess Cyberpunk 2077 with the 2.0 update and Phantom Liberty, were things that caught or, appealed to me the most, Matt. And I think before we get to your game of the year list and my final list of the year, there's one category that I think my indecisiveness kind of speaks to for you as well. And Matt, do you have a list of 2023 games that you would like to play in 2024, hopefully?
Jaren, I have a list of 5 games from 2023 that I hope to play sometime in 2024. Jaren, on this list, in not really any particular order, I have Pizza Tower, which is that kind of like Wario Land sort of game. Wario World, Wario Land. I can't remember the actual name of that game, but
I think
that sort of game. I have Lies of P, which you've played and made me want to play. I have Chance of Sonar, which, like, I think I mentioned on the show, is that like kind of language learning game. I have Cassette Beasts, which is the sort of Pokemon game. And I know I just said that these aren't really numbered, but I think the one that I really, really do want to play the most that came out in 2023 is Affogato, which is that kind of reverse tower defense game that we found during one of the Steam Next Fest playthroughs.
That was definitely one of the titles I was flip flopping back and forth during the last Steam sale. I think it was between that, World of Horror, and Slay the Princess that, I was going back and forth of, oh, should I bite the bullet now? But Matt, I was looking at my Steam cart for this year, and maybe we can get into this next week of the things that we purchased last Steam sale, but it was already kind of up there in price. So those three I had to put on the shelf for now, but I definitely would like to get to those in 2024 as well. But Matt, if you do end up playing Eliza P, let me know, and then I can continue my playthrough there, and we can have a better discussion in the future of the Mistake Zone. But Matt, I think to add on to 2023 games I would like to play in 2024, I think the biggest one for me is Alan Wake 2.
Yes.
Just, I guess, all the praise that it's gotten over the last few months, especially from our pal Julian as well. It's definitely something that I do want to get my hands on eventually. Don't remember anything from Alan Wake 1. Not sure how much of American Nightmare plays into it as well, but apparently there are a lot of good recaps that we can probably just watch on YouTube prior to going through Alan Wake 2. But yeah, Matt, it was a really beefy year of games. To many, a lot of people have said this was one of the best years in a while, probably rivals, some of the greats like 2024, what is it, 96, not 2024, 2004, 1996. I think 2007 one of the years that people like, 2011 as well. But that 2023 definitely full of bangers. But again, I feel like I didn't finish enough to make a good list of my top games of 2023. But Matt, as the resident gamer trademark here, do you have a list of your top games of 2023?
Yes, Jaren, I have my game of the years 2023 for a top 10.
Okay.
And Jaren, at number 10, I think this might have been higher if I had a better device to play it on. But it's Monster Hunter now.
Oh, okay.
Jaren, if my phone wasn't chunking and just draining battery so hard whenever I was playing this, I think I would have had a better time with it. I've gotten a new phone this past week. So I think I'm going to give this another try in 2024. So, Jaren, maybe I'll join you in Monster Hunter grind time.
Matt, I fell off hard when my hand started freezing. So maybe in the springtime, I'll get back to hunting.
Yeah. Springtime is probably a better idea for this. Number 9 for me, Jaren, is Diablo 4. I think this could have been a lot higher if the end game was more solid. But the campaign for me was a very fun run through, and I did enjoy my time with it over there.
Right.
Number 8, I wanted to talk about this on the show, but I think the episode we were going to talk about it, we ran out of time. But it's War Tales, which I played on Game Pass. It is a kind of CRPG type game, good tactics kind of game where you're not really playing any fantastical or hero-like characters. It is you're playing a bunch of mobs trying to get through this kind of a war-torn setting. And I thought it was a really good play at it.
Okay.
Jaren, number 7, Suika game and all of its Suika game clones.
Yes.
Jaren, this game was weirdly addicting. Good soundtrack. Good Halloween theme on it when it had it. I don't know, Jaren. This game came and went for me in a weird wild storm, man. I don't know. That was a good month of entertainment on playing it myself and then watching a lot of Holo talents play it and a lot of just other streamers kind of tearing their hair out at Suika game.
Sorry to piggyback off you for a bit, Matt. I think my time with Suika the game is I went from the hololive clone to the quote-unquote original one on the Switch.
Yeah.
And I think that was a lot more jarring just because of how different the physics were, where I played a lot of the hololive version or the hololive fan game.
Yes.
And I was used to that game's physics. And when I finally played the Switch versions of the game, or Suika game, Matt, the physics threw me off a lot. It took me a long time to adjust the physics because I was so used to the hololive one. But yeah, again, Matt, as you said, strangely addicting, and one that would have been in my top three Switch games if it counted at the time.
Number 6 for me, Jaren, is WarioWare Move It. I had a lot of fun playing this game. I generally just like really, really like the kind of physical side of the WarioWare, like this particular WarioWare game, alongside like the Wii WarioWare, and I don't know, Jaren was just a overall good time.
Yes. Fun poses, Matt. Fun poses.
Fun poses, and like burst pants.
Yes.
But Jaren, number 5 for me is Hogwarts Legacy. I honestly thought this was a 2022 game, but Jaren, this was a wild experience. It was such a good like dive into really being in the Harry Potter universe, and I don't know, it was just a very, very fun game. I thought the combat system was like very interesting. I think the thing that really held me back in this game, Jaren, was that I wish your loadout could have just been a little bit bigger.
Right.
But overall, I thought the game was like very, very fun.
Well, on the topic of Hogwarts Legacy, while I didn't play the game personally, nor intend to play the game ever for my own personal reasons, we can still acknowledge the elephant in the room based on the discourse the game received this past year. It goes without saying, but the Mistake Zone will always try to be an inclusive place to all our friends and everyone listening out there. Any past and present mention of Hogwarts Legacy reflect the game itself and do not support the hurtful remarks from Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling. Even if it was a great year of video games, there were still definitely some low points, from the mass layoffs that the industry faced to, honestly, the vile words aimed at those who wanted to play the game, not want to play the game, and those who worked on the game itself. Let's just be kind to one another and show more empathy, because it's just getting so fucking hard to survive out there. Much love and support to our LGBTQ plus friends, and thank you, Matt, for allowing me to hijack your top 10 list in a futile attempt to be somewhat moral in this capitalistic hellscape we live in.
No worries, Jaren. But going back on track, number 4 for me is Remnant 2. Jaren, this is a great Souls-like with guns. It was
Yes.
a really nice sequel to the original, and I don't know. I'm looking forward to more. Not specifically the latest DLC, but like when more DLC comes out, I'm looking forward to more Remnant 2.
Oh man, on Game Pass now, Matt.
Yes, it is on Game Pass now. I think like if you haven't played the series, it's definitely worth a play. Number 3 for me, Jaren, is City Skylines 2.
Oh, surprising, Matt.
Yes, another I don't know if another good extension on its original game, and I don't know, I had a lot of fun playing it once they patched a lot of like kind of like performance stuff. It got a lot smoother for me, and Jaren, there was one point where I kind of just had a gridlock city, and I then turned everything into roundabouts, and it made me want to vomit thinking about driving on the street where like instead of every stoplight being a stoplight, it's just roundabouts, and they're not even that far apart. Jared, it made me physically sick, and I stopped playing on that city, and I made a new one.
Oh man.
Jaren, my number 1 and number 2 are obviously going to be between Tears of the Kingdom and Baldur's Gate 3.
Right.
And I went back and forth so much on like, I put more time into Baldur's Gate 3, maybe that should be number 1. Or, like I really enjoyed the like gameplay within Tears of the Kingdom a lot. Or, I really liked the, characters in Baldur's Gate 3. Or I really like, building my dumb stuff in Tears of the Kingdom. And I think for me, kind of like having to put it between 1 and 2 is honestly kind of meaningless for the most part. But for the sake of, this list, having to put a number on these, I think for me, the number 2, and Jared, I'm putting this on basically an asterisk on this.
Yes.
Baldur's Gate 3 is the number 2 for me.
Okay.
Because I think between Tears of the Kingdom and Baldur's Gate 3, Baldur's Gate 3 is far more a huge step with regards to storytelling, in the same way that kind of like Telltale The Walking Dead was a huge step in like storytelling, but not so much in gameplay.
Right.
Whereas I think Tears of the Kingdom, while it didn't really like tell too, like wasn't really out there with its storytelling, I think the kind of like gameplay for it for me really is what set that at number one for me. But both are really, really great games in their own. If they came out in separate years, I'm like Baldur's Gate 3 would have definitely been it's the number one for its year. But it's wild that these two, I honestly want to say like Titan class games came out within the same year.
Matt, great year of gaming. Great year of
This was a
gaming.
very good one.
Yes.
Jaren, this is a 2019 anime level of gaming this year. I
Damn, Matt. Damn.
think.
But Matt, while I don't have my own top 10 games of 2023, Matt, I do have my top 5 mistakes of the year 2023 edition. And Matt, a lot of mistakes this year, a lot of mistakes, but these were the 5 that stuck with me. Matt, number 5, this was a recent boy. This was as early as December, late dark horse of mistakes. Matt, my number 5 mistake of the year, not canceling my parents' internet to get a better deal after Black Friday. Matt, I pay for my parents' internet as well. And given where they live, not great service, Matt, not great service of what's being offered. And I kind of slacked on it and loafed it on, calling retention, threatening to cancel to get a better deal, and had to bite a $100 internet bill. And I need to remedy that fast. So number 5 is not getting a better price on my parents' internet plan and paying full price for it. Matt, number 4 has to be leaving the Adidas jacket my sister bought me in a restaurant at that Mexican resort and it going bye-bye. Matt, even though my sister says no biggie, it's okay, she'll buy me a new one, felt real bad. Not sure why I wore a jacket in a not tropical, but at a resort where it was really warm. And of course I left it there. And when I finally realized I left it there, it was gone, Matt. Went to Lost and Found the next 2 days, not there, and had to leave Mexico without my Adidas jacket.
Damn.
Matt, number 3 mistake of the year. Breaking my first ever Nendoroid.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry, Hafumi from New Game. The first Nendoroid that I ever bought. During my move from, getting stuff from my parents' house and bringing it to the Mistake Zone HQ means I had to put my figures back in boxes, and that meant, unfortunately, ripping off Hafumi's head and breaking the neck piece inside. It still haven't gotten around to fixing her, Matt, but felt real bad at the moment. Matt, number 2 mistake of the year from our Korea trip. I didn't tell you the price at the time, Matt, but my shame has gotten the best of me, where I have to say my number 2 mistake of the year, paying $500 for a Bape hoodie. Matt, when I was dead set on getting a Bape hoodie to commemorate my time, didn't like the designs in Japan, went to the Bape store in Korea when we went. Remember finding a design I liked, holding it up, and then my partner saying, "This is $500," and me going, "I have to get it," and I got it. And Matt, the moment I walked out of the store, I was already feeling regret, but I looked at the receipt, final sale. Too much, Matt. Paid too much for that hoodie. And that's on top of the fact that I was still taxed on it and wasn't able to get my tax refund on it, which made the matters even worse. Number 2 mistake of the year, buying a $500 Bape hoodie in Korea. And Matt, my number 1 mistake of 2023. So when we went to Japan and Korea, my cousin, she looked after our dog and house it for us for that 3 weeks duration. Yeah. So essentially, before the trip, me and my cousin went to Costco just to buy a bunch of stuff for her, just for her, what part of our thank you package for looking after our dog and house sitting. So when we got back from Costco, I was going over the receipt because, surprise, we bought a power bank that we used during the trip, and I wanted to return it.
Classic.
So I wanted to return the power bank we bought because we don't need it anymore, and we're assholes. So I'm going through the receipt, and I see $55 KS salmon. Now, Matt, I'm floored. no way would we buy $55 worth of salmon. Then I saw, its placement in the receipt. It came before the bagels. And, Matt, when you go to Costco, you buy 2 bagels for $7 and the employee has to scan it for you. We were doing self-checkout.
Yeah.
And Matt, I thought, oh, the lady who scanned our bagels was probably holding salmon and accidentally scanned it before our bagels.
No.
Duh. Right, Matt? That's probably what happened.
Yeah.
So, Matt, I go to Costco and I go to customer service and I ask, do you guys have cameras for the self-checkout? Because I wanted to prove that I didn't buy this $55 worth of salmon.
Yeah.
The lady at the customer service says, she's so confused, Matt, at my request. And I explained, I'm pretty sure the lady who scanned my bagels was holding salmon and then she misscanned it. Do you have camera footage of this? Because I didn't buy the salmon. And the customer service lady was like, let me check with my manager. And I overheard them talk and they were like, that doesn't make sense because the door checker is supposed to check for this. And I'm overhearing the whole thing and I'm dead set. No way I bought $55 salmon.
Yeah.
And the manager comes back to us and says, oh, KS salmon is dog food. Did you buy dog food, Matt? I said, yes, we bought dog food. Apologized, thanked them. And I scurried back to the car because I wanted to die of embarrassment.
Oh, man.
Not... KS salmon from Costco is my number 1 mistake of the year, 2023. And Matt,
oh man,
that's tying a bow on the many mistakes of 2023. Matt, resolutions. I want to watch more manga. I want to watch more anime. I want to finish more games so I can have some better lists for 2024. But Matt, a resolution that always stays true is I want to make way more mistakes in 2024 to share with you next year when we recap. But Matt, we're back pretty much neurovirus free, I hope.
Mostly, probably, hopefully.
Is there anything else you want to sign off with for 2023?
Jaren, when you were talking about breaking your Nendo, that actually reminded me of a mistake that I made towards the end of last year. Which is that I bought it's not a Gundam, but it's very similar. Jaren, this is a Chinese style Gundam, and they're kind of I guess design philosophies are a little different from a Japanese style Gundam, where it's far more about looking edgy and flashy and that sort of deal. So there's a lot more spikes on those designs, and man, Jaren, putting this kit together was Stab City.
Oh man, Matt. That sounds like a mistake, but one to be proud of.
It's a cool kit, though. It's a cool kit.
I'll have to see it sometime in person because, Matt, there's probably going to be more mistake zones recorded in person, still online. Yes. But as always, Matt, want to thank you for another year of the Mistake Zone, for joining me, as always, and also editing not only this pod, but also the seasonal what to look forward to anime recaps.
Yo, Jaren, I, as always, want to thank you for a whole year of hosting the Mistake Zone, and I look forward for another year of you hosting the Mistake Zone.
Thanks, man. Another great year. I want to thank all our friends out there for listening again. And I know I went off a bit earlier, but honestly, for 2024, let's just be kind to one another. You know, show more empathy to one another, and it's hard to be alive, man. Let's be honest, Matt. Don't get me started on shrinkflation. Don't get me started on this Toblerone I was given, and just how little chocolate is actually given to you now. But let's just be kind to one another, Matt. Again, great year in video games. Some rough moments. Condolences to everyone who lost their jobs in the video game industry, and I hope that 2024 is a lot better, and you find new opportunities to explore. And yeah, Matt, I think here's to 2024 where we're kinder to one another, but for us personally, we find many new mistakes for us to explore. And Matt, with that said, please take it away.
This has been the Mistake Zone, and we're all out of 2023.